Oh man, it is that time of year again.
Spring training is almost done. Ironically, I
Some
got
groups have left.
I got a notification on like my time hop from 2010. It was like last day of spring training, or no, we had our first show today on the 18th of June in 2010 is what it was.
Yeah,
So
I remember talking to you that summer because I had an extra week. We did 5 weeks at Blue Stars in 10, so we still had a whole another week of all days when you were like, oh man, we've done like 4 shows already. But yeah, it was a rough spring training. But yeah, before we jump in, we are welcome everyone to the Aged Out podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Michael Fantini, and with me as always is
Evan Worrell.
And comment, like, subscribe, share the podcast with anyone you think would enjoy it, as well as give us a follow on social media on Facebook and Instagram to never miss an update on anything we are doing. Patreon.com/agedoutpodcast, or hit the join button right here on YouTube, or head to agedoutpodcast.com, link in the video description, if you'd like to buy a t-shirt with a logo on it and support us. Okay, this is the fun episode we do every year. At least I think it's a lot of fun, because we're going to say a lot of stupid things, or things that are going to be shown to be real dumb 2 or 3 weeks from now, and we're probably going to say a couple things that are going to make us look really smart. So we'll see what happens. We're just shooting from the hip. No one's seen hardly anything, although we have seen a couple of videos of some of like the top groups and stuff this year so far already. But we're just going to talk about the season.
Yeah, everybody's kind of making their show announcements. Well, except for one group, which we'll get up to that in a second. But, you know, announcing their repertoire, what they're going to be playing. It's really hard to get a grasp on the shows just based on the repertoire, just because they do so much with the arrangements.
Yep.
There's some cool partnerships going on. Like, I know Crown has the John Mackey thing, the connection, which will be cool. And I know as of this, they have kind of some videos out from their Crown Live performance there during spring training. Some lot videos of the drum line. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But, you know, I think there'll be some groups that mix up, obviously. There's no cadets, but
we have
Vanguard back into the mix. So you got to think that that'll probably, like, you know, just swap places as far as finalists goes.
More than likely, yep.
Yeah, I mean, Vanguard will, though. It's interesting. You know, they're going to have to go on early at shows this year where they are coming back into the fold of things. They're going to have to go on first, I think, up until San Antonio.
I hadn't thought about that. That is a good point.
You know, it's probably not going to make a huge difference.
In the end.
Those local shows that are early, there's like 5 or 6 groups.
Cores.
I mean,
yeah, it's not going to matter. But I at the same point, though, at the same time, I hadn't thought about that. That the fact they took a summer off, like, you are going to be going on first at a lot of things, at least for the first half of the season.
Right.
But
some of those groups that were on the fringe last year, as far as like finalists, you know, Pacific Crest started real hot. I think they kind of plateaued early. I think they've made some changes there. I think like Eric Schreiber and them are there now. I think that's his first year. You know,
Crossman been there last year.
Crossman was on the cusp of making finals, finished 13th, and you know, it'll be interesting to see too, like what Jeff Osdemore and the Blue Knights crew do now that they have another year together. They're with the arrangers, the core, the drill designers, and stuff. How are they going to fit back into the mix? They finished 12th, yeah. So
then you've got the whole DCI all age thing going on, and we've already reacted to Bucks. Like, if you haven't watched that group yet, go find either lot videos or our reaction video. There's a couple of them out there. They're good. They're going to be as good as some top 12 groups probably by the end of the season.
It'll be interesting to see how all that shakes out. They're going to be really strong. I mean, they're playing a lot of notes. Dude, Troopers doing that Dance with the Devil show. They put out their freaking like whole MIDI file of the whole show like a month ago. I was like, well, this is wild. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that.
I haven't, for sure. Not at all. But, I mean, so what have we seen so far? Before we jump into group by group, we just talked about the cusp of finals a little bit. We have seen probably only one thing that's not been out to the public.
Yeah,
the Blue Devils stuff is public.
I've gotten some Cavaliers videos that have been sent to me. The Blue Devils run through, well, there are, I think in the Drum Corps coffee shop, somebody posted some videos of like some exercises and a few few short book clips that the Battery's playing. So if you're not in the Drum Corps coffee shop, go check those out.
Yep.
You know, they sound really good. I'll talk about the whole show in a second.
But
I think that I think that their battery will be better this year than they were last year. Just early season kind of judgment there.
I'll say something and then I'll expand on it a little more later when we get to talking about the Blue Devils in a little more depth. But I told you before we started this evening that I think BD is due for a drum trophy. I think they've got a lot of people they've got a lot of members in that drum line in front that I've seen in the past couple seasons in that group. I think they've got some experience, and I think obviously that staff and design team know what they're doing. That's probably an understatement to even put it that way. They're going to be set up to win, and I think they have the experience. They're always set up to win, if we're being honest. But
right,
I just got a hunch. But so we've seen some BD clips. We've seen one story post from one of the Bluecoats, like battery techs. I think it was Zach Wilson. It might have been Tom Gasparini, one of the two, or Tommy Rome, one of them. But it was like them tracking a triplet rolls rep, and it sounded really nice.
They also posted that clip of the battery playing like an accent tap flams exercise, which I think is like more of an old school exercise like BD, which
I didn't see that. That's cool.
It was short, so like I was all here for it. It sounded really good. I'm on board with the short exercise train.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Anyone who's been listening to this knows our opinion on that.
But short and sweet, get to the point. Make it serve its purpose. You can play lots of reps, lots of different tempos. We've seen the Boston stuff with the Glitch show. They did the concert in the park
thing,
that they do every year. So there's a lot of videos floating around from that.
Is the Spanx tag new this year?
Yeah, and it's filthy.
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty sick. I'm assuming it's like a chunk of the show that's mixed in there.
Probably. Two birds, one stone.
I was like, wow, this is nuts.
Yeah.
But seeing that, Crown did their Crown Live thing. So
I think Crown's probably the battery we've seen the most of.
Yeah, probably.
Out of anybody. And with all the other thing we've seen besides that, the one thing we've probably seen that the public hasn't is just, obviously we know a lot of the Cavies drum staff. We've seen like one or two little tracking clips that was sent to us from some of their techs, and they sound good again.
They sound good.
they sound good again. So. I mean, what can you say? I mean, I don't... haven't seen any Vanguard, seen like some teaser stuff from their social media, but since we have seen the most of Crown,
the Kendrick diss on that.
That was hilarious. Since we've seen the most of Crown, let's start there, and I'll start by saying they're cleaner right now coming out of spring training. I think I don't want to say by far, but they're definitely cleaner right now coming out of spring training. The drum line, I don't know what the front's up to yet. I haven't seen much of them. But the drum line is definitely cleaner than they were coming out of spring training last year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think they have a leg up on just the process. I mean, that makes sense, just knowing the core better as the percussion staff is like in year 2 now. Just kind of knowing how the rest of the core operates, knowing what you have as far as rehearsal time, rehearsal space, the fields, all that, just the logistical side, being a little bit more comfortable with everything. I think there's some cool stuff going on, especially in the front ensemble. They have that like rope drum, concert snare drum stuff that they're doing. The marimbas playing on the side of the marimbas, really spread out, very isolated, very exposed. A lot of that stuff at the beginning of their show is very, very exposed. Just relies on a lot of consistency, dialing
That's what I was going to point out. It's just the snare line at first, right? With like trumpet stabs and stuff.
There's a lot. There's a lot of segmental writing for most of the show because the whole show's out there. And at least as of today, it is.
That's a high risk, high reward thing. If they nail it, they're going to get a ton of credit, and if they don't,
a lot of it's
going to hurt them.
A lot of it feels very Mike Jackson. It feels like a lot of the Mike Jackson, Kevin Shaw vibe. There's a couple moments in there where they bust out some like fast isolated deals. The show's not done yet.
Of course, it's early. It's like spring training just ended or is just about to end for most groups. So.
We were kind of talking about this the other day. I said I felt like shows, like we had the shows done quicker when we marched. Yeah. But I did kind of watch back and think on things a lot, and it's like, well, we did do a significantly less amount of choreography, and that stuff takes time to map out.
I think you and I had both said, I know in 2010, we did our first full run of the show probably at the end of the second week of move-ins. We had done a full run already.
Oh yeah, we had the show on quick.
Bluecoats, it might have been the middle of the third week. Took a little longer, maybe beginning of the third week, but not much longer than 2 summers before for me. I mean, but like you said, you and I both pointed it out, and I think back through, I think I did more body at Blue Stars in 10 than I did at Bluecoats in 12. I'd have to go back and watch the show, but thinking back through it, I think I had more body in 10 than I did in 12.
Yeah, I mean, we had choreo, but it's just not to the level.
It's not the same.
It's not to the level of what it is today, and that stuff just takes more time. So
yep,
they stage things more. There's more just like production from moment to moment. So yeah, it makes sense that it takes a little bit longer, but also they start a little later. I think,
yeah,
what we did.
I will also say something I want to point out about Mike Jackson's battery book this year that has stuck out to me more than it typically does. And his books are known to have a lot of rhythmic changes, count to count to count, 2 counts at a time, 1 counter, triplet eighth, all these weird rhythms, hand speed changes. I think there's more in this book than I've heard in his books. Like, they are like not playing the same rhythm for more than a count or 2 almost ever from what I've seen, or it doesn't seem like it from the couple of watches I've given it, which is pretty cool. Seems to be, don't see a lot of flam vocabulary.
Yeah, I'm gonna save some of my thoughts for like when we do an actual reaction of it.
Right.
And get some more. Like, I want them to get the full book out there because like what we saw was like it was maybe like 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
Yeah, it was it's a small sample.
So I was like, all right, yeah.
Like that's what we do. Like, that's the fun of podcasts.
We can more variety.
We can.
I love the things. But
we can be wrong, and we can say stupid things or possibly smart things. That's what we do
it's
here.
Fine. But but just to echo your point and hammer that, I do think that they are playing better earlier than they were this time last year.
I'd have to go watch that because there was a video from this preview show thing from last summer out there. I might go back and watch that and just to remind myself the level of clarity they came out with then. But it feels a lot farther along than it was then. So it's good. Good for them. I mean, we both know Jared Andrews, fans of Jared. I marched for Mike for a summer, so we'll see what happens. I think it could be really cool stuff going on. But Vanguard next or BD?
Yeah, I'll talk Vanguard first. Okay. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, there's the connection that they've always had from Troopers, so it'll be interesting to see if like they come out as just
refined as always,
fire right out of the gate and refined right out of the gate as typical, having the summer off. I think that's going to be what kind of everybody's looking to see, waiting to see. How's Vanguard?
I've already seen pictures of members, and there are faces that I remember from 2 summers ago in the battery. So not everybody, younger members 2 summers ago have come back, which is a good thing. Obviously, you love to see that. I think there will be some gaps filled and from Troopers members, which will also help a ton.
Also, as like a full core, it'll be interesting to me, like the strength of the whole core, like having a year off. Like, did they
go march somewhere else?
Did their resurgence come from some Mandarins vets, or did Mandarins vets be like, oh, like, we really enjoyed our summer. We had a great show. That show last year for them was killer. We're going to stick around. So did they maybe not like pull people from as much as they might have in a normal season? So
did the people in the horn line? Did the people in the horn line? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. The people in the horn line go march somewhere else, and will they stay somewhere else where they went?
Right.
Did they go to Mandarins? Did they go to BD? Did some go to who knows who?
Troopers,
Yeah, will they come back now that Vanguard's back? If you went to BD, maybe they had a great time and aren't going to come back to Vanguard. You never know.
Right. So there's a lot of questions that people will be anxious to see just at the first show. Like, they're going to want to come out hot too. SCV just be like, all right, we're back,
Are they at that SoCal preview show this weekend?
They might be. I'll look it up while we're talking.
I haven't looked that up yet. Yeah.
Is that on?
I only know about that because Drum Corps Coffee Shop's got a merch booth there. So if you're in Cali going to that show, go get yourself a shirt or a sticker.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. So my thoughts on Vanguard from seeing absolutely nothing. I'm full of bold statements tonight. They won't win the Sanford. I think they'll be good. I think they'll be up there in the conversation like they always have been historically, and Renix groups are. I do not think they'll win the Sanford.
Valid. You know,
I have literally nothing to go on than the fact that they took the summer off last year. But maybe I'm a cynic. I know I'm a little bit of a cynic, but I'll make that bold prediction way too early. We'll see. Watch, they'll come out just like throwing down, and I'll be like, well, never mind. But no, I don't think they're going to win. They could very well finish top 3, and I wouldn't be surprised. The percussion, I mean, by the way, percussion. I have no idea what the core is going to do. So yeah, that's my thoughts there.
The core stuff is pretty. It's a toss up, man.
Yep.
There's no way to really gauge what anybody's doing until we see it. Speaking of which, I did see that Blue Devils video before it got taken down.
I'm pissed I didn't get to watch it.
I told you to watch it fast. I was like, it's not going to last long. I actually really like a lot of what they're doing musically, which is not always the case for me in Blue Devil shows of late. But I really liked it. One thing that was odd, and the way that they produce their shows is so different than everybody else, so it makes sense. It takes them a long time. But it was very clunky from a visual standpoint to me.
Really?
Just the way the field was set up with the props, the way the uniform, it was a really windy day, and they have those capes, so it's just like really cluttered on the field.
They have to take those off at some point, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
I
think actually they took them off towards the end of that video, but
yeah.
So they'll fix all that. But just initial read, that was my gut reaction. I was like, this all looks kind of like disjunct, but whatever, it'll be great.
They're going to be good. They'll be given a product that will allow them to compete for a gold medal like they do every summer. So it is.
No one knows what Blue Coats are doing. I saw a funny post. It's like, oh, Blue Coats will make their show announcement on August 11th, which was funny.
That was actually, you sent that to a few of us. That was a good meme. They seem to always hold out. They don't like to let anyone know until the first show. They have their reasons. I don't really agree with it, but that's for selfish reasons because I want to talk about it and speculate. But it is what it is. We'll know in another week or two. I think their first show is end of June. I think it's a little later for them.
Everybody's probably right around there. I had the schedule pulled up earlier, but
the Muncie show is the 28th, and I think I'm gonna drive 2 hours to go to that show. I know you and I are gonna go to the Mason show again because Phantom, Crown, Boston, and Blue Coats are there, and I want to see. Speaking of Phantom, really quick, hold on. How did I not know their spring training that just ended a day or two ago was an hour from my house in Louisville?
Well, you did know because I sent it to you, but you forgot.
So. Clearly, I saw some post about them thanking Kentucky Wesleyan College or whatever it was, and I was like, wait a minute. Googled Owensboro's literally an hour drive from. I could have gone and checked them out live. Could have texted Matt Penland and said like, hey, I'll be there this afternoon.
Yeah, so they already left, but
unfortunate.
First show, DCI Midwest premiere on June 26th, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch because I'll be out of town. Blue Stars, Phantom
Muncie,
Regiment,
right?
Colts, the Cavaliers, and the Boston Crusaders.
Where's that at?
That is in Rockford, Michigan.
And that's like the 20. What did you say it was? 26th?
26th.
26th. And then, so the Muncie show is the 28th. I'm pretty sure I'm going to drive up there because the Cavaliers are going to be there. And then we're definitely going on July 2nd to the Mason show again because it's in our backyard. So that's what we'll get to see in person. And then we will be at finals and then see whatever video content pretty much gets put out there. But
already got the hotel. That's good.
Yep. It's all booked and ready.
Phantom show, it's called Mind, I guess, or Mend, M-Y-N-D. I don't know. I hate English. I don't know if that's pronounced mind or mend. So,
who knows? Somebody can
Phantom
tell us.
Regiment, Moonlight Sonata, Surfacing, Equilibrium, Fly or Die, Pillar 3. Yeah, there's a lot of show titles that I was literally trying to figure out how to pronounce. The Mandarin show titles like Vauquerie or Vauquerie. It's French, which translates to the Old Square, but also when I was Googling it, it was a tasty cocktail.
Interesting.
Where you basically an old fashioned where you substitute the brandy in. I was like, man, this sounds good.
That sounds delicious.
Vanguard playing the Vagabond show with the Kendrick Lamar. Somebody posted like
awesome.
Paul Rennick's got those Kendrick 120 backbeats on lock.
I think that was Chris, wasn't it?
I think it was Chris. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that made sense because he does throw down the backbeats.
Mm-hmm.
BD the Romantics, Carolina Crown Promethean. Let's see who else we not said. Cavaliers Beneath the Armor. Who knows? They're going to be playing some. I think some Michael Jackson in there was in their repertoire.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, the Cavaliers.
So let's talk Cavies for a minute. We said we saw that one since you just mentioned their show. You said we've seen that short little clip. It's always hard to repeat a drum trophy when you have a year like that. It's always because inadvertently or inevitably, everyone's going to be thinking back to the last summer because they were phenomenal, and it's hard to escape that. I don't want to call it a standard, but it kind of is a standard that you're held to when people compare you, like fan bases. Hopefully, judges don't do that. I wouldn't think, but like
the judges are not thinking year
No.
to year. They're just thinking about this year. I mean, there's just no way.
They should be at least, and most of them more than likely are. But I just think it's hard to repeat. I mean, I know Rennick's done it. I know the Cadets have done it. Beatty's
outside
done it,
of
but
Rennick, the last back to back, so Rennick went on the 4-peat there, 16, 17, 18, 19. But outside that, the last group to back was Cadets.
Yeah, Cadets.
10203.
So it doesn't happen very often. And if you're a betting person, the odds are they won't win again. They could. They very well could. But it'll be tough.
I will say
it's tough to do.
They're definitely not going to do it again if the core's in 8th, which I know that they made some changes over the summer with the visual staff. They got a new drill writer.
Yeah.
They brought in, I think, some different people to help run with the brass ensemble and music ensemble. So they're definitely, making moves to try to move the core up the chain as well, which, as Cavaliers, they're alumni of the organization. They're not going to be happy with 8th place.
No, not at all.
So they're going to continue to try to push that. They definitely won't win a Fred Sanford from 8th again.
No,
so
I don't think so.
If they do, they're gonna have to be on the precipice of top 5.
Yeah, they sound pretty good in spring training from what we heard, but I do agree that if the core is in 8th again, it'll be really hard.
Yeah, especially when Vanguard's gonna be in the mix. Yep. They might not win, but they're gonna be great.
I think BD is gonna be strong. Like I said
Paul
earlier,
and Sandy are so great. They're such good arrangers. BD will be in the mix.
Boston, we got to talk about them. Blue Coats will be in. I mean,
everybody. Boston. It'll be interesting to see if Boston plays the game a little bit more.
That's exactly where I was going to go with this discussion. Yeah.
We've had Colin on several times. We've had some of their other tech staff on, and
Beltran, Moyer,
front caption heads, front ensemble. So it'll be interesting to see if they maybe pick and choose their spots a little bit more, just to get a little bit more consistent. And
I wouldn't even call it picking their spots for them. I just think it would be just in the spots where you're not in front of the judge, just taking I think we told Ian this, we've told Colin this when they asked us what we think about everything. Take 10% off the top when the judge isn't in front of you to make it a little easier to be consistent on that stuff, so you can spend more time on the stuff that matters more.
And they run and gun too, which I would never. I don't ever want to lose the run and gun.
No, with Cadets gone, they got to keep it alive.
Boston and Crown are basically the only groups that still do it, run and gun.
Yep.
Other groups do at times.
They have moments.
It's not the same.
No,
it's not the same. So now without Cadets in the mix, we need some of that, but during the high octane moments, we'll shrink the step size a little bit here.
Yeah, make it a little more feasible from a drill standpoint and a density of notes. I think from what I've heard from that concert in the park from Boston, they're going to be good. I noticed one thing. I know the center from last year, Giovanna. That's her name, right?
Did she age out? Yeah.
No, I thought someone told us she was younger. She still had a couple summer. Maybe she took a summer off.
Maybe.
But she wasn't in the videos, and I feel like last year, Colin or somebody told us that she had a few summers left, and she was younger still. Could be completely wrong with that, but I was pretty sure she wasn't an age out last year. But either way,
I didn't mark my age out, so
yeah, fair. I didn't do my age out for indoor, so it does happen. It does happen. People make decisions. Life happens. But I was just surprised to see that. So they'll be good. I mean, from what I heard from that concert, those concert videos, the video angle was off to the side, so it was kind of hard to really get a good read on it. But they'll be strong. They'll be
great. They'll be in the mix.
And then Blue Coats, we haven't talked about a whole lot. Don't have a whole lot to say. Again, they've been pretty quiet. Radio silence, obviously, on the show, and just putting things on Instagram or anything like that. The one roll clip I saw that someone did post was really good. Sounded really balanced. But I mean, it's just a rolls exercise, so a lot of groups can pull that off.
If they're going down the route of we're gonna shrink the exercise packet and make it more efficient, dude,
He's about it.
Yeah, I'm all about it. I am anti 18 minutes worth of exercises. It doesn't do you any good, especially like think about if you have rain and you got to warm up in a hurry.
True.
And we couldn't play through our flam jam for 12 minutes. I'm like, no, like I don't know. That's my personal opinion. I think that stuff's ridiculous, but I know it is kind of like an identity of people.
It's an identity,
which is cool
at this point.
I think it's definitely enticing for recruiting.
Yeah.
I
mean, Colin even talked about that with some of his exercises that they play now. Like, he goes, the kids have fun with it, and I don't have anything against it, really, to have a couple things like that. I think there is a line you have to walk where it becomes, okay, how much time are we spending on these etude exercises versus the show?
Yes.
But if you have a couple, I think it's cool. You play it at the end of your exercises. It's dope. The crowd loves it. The members enjoy it.
You got like a tag in the middle of an exercise. Like you guys did that with Twitch.
That's what Twitch was. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. That's what Twitch was for us. I mean, hell, at Blue Stars, we had that 8s tag that was a huge fat groove at the end of it that was just fun. So stuff like that, no problem with it. But there's a line. There's a line, I feel like, where it becomes more of a detriment.
My background is biased because it was always just
you guys were tracking
taps.
You guys were tracking in the lot.
No, we didn't track the exercises, but we did track.
Yeah.
I was actually earlier today watching clips from our first show because I was curious. I was like, how did we sound? 2009, dude, we came out banging. I was like, all right, we're good.
There's a video of us, our very first show at Blue Stars, the warm up. I have to go back and watch that. I haven't watched it in a while, but it was probably better than it should have been. But it wasn't amazing. But we got a lot better this summer. It was we worked hard. But who else? We don't have anything. Blue Stars, Crossmen, Scouts.
Blue Stars show, Universal. That's all I know.
I think Scouts will be pretty good this year, and the only reason I say that is because of consistency. I think a lot of the same staff is back again.
Blue Stars are also playing Kendrick Lamar.
What?
It's on the rep list. Which song?
Okay.
It doesn't say.
But I think Scouts will be better this year than they were last year. I think they had staff. It seems like they have Ryan still there, Matt Hahn. I'm sure, hopefully. I think I've seen a few pictures.
They're playing. Their show's titled like Mosaic.
Scouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
Like very fragmented. I don't know. Just guessing. There's a lot of show titles that you can make some assumptions off of, but you're just gonna have to wait and see.
So basically, after 28 minutes of talking, our points are: everyone's gonna be in the mix. There's the moral of the story.
Yeah, I think what I'm more curious about will be the fight for that like 12 to 17 range. 12.
That's always
16.
fun to follow.
Will Blue Knights? Their show's called Busk, B-U-S-K, which I had to look that up, and it's the definition of it's a verb, which means like to perform music or entertainment in the street or like other public places, sometimes for like monetary donations. So like, there's so many cool stuff you could go with that route as far as the setting. Listening to people play guitar, bucket drumming on the street. I mean, I'm just kind of spitballing, throwing stuff out there. You see people play crazy stuff. People do those loop tracks on the street where they start looping music. If people start doing stuff like that, that'll be kind of sweet. But
yeah, it'll be interesting.
That's
kind of a cool concept. That's kind of it's a pretty cool concept.
What if somebody live looped their own show? That'd be very hard to do.
It'd be cool though.
It would be cool.
It'd be really cool.
Dude, if somebody did a drum feature where they were live looping stuff, I mean, you'd basically be like creating your own metronome on the field.
But if it's for an effect,
yeah, and if it's like being triggered by a performer, I don't know the rules on all that.
Yeah.
So, Crossmen, their show title Lush Life. Who knows?
You mentioned Mandarins earlier, right?
Yeah, Mandarins. Yeah. The Mandarins is that
the
French
drink
Quarters, old school,
the French Quarter,
square,
old fashioned with brandy instead.
Yes, I'm gonna have to like make some of those.
I was gonna say I might have to make one of those in the near future.
My wife did make a simple syrup last night out of lavender, like infused lavender, so it's pretty.
All right. So you have my attention.
Yeah.
I don't know if anything else. I mean, Could be
I
a
will say
succinct
this.
half an hour here.
This will be like kind of a rant at the end.
Do it.
The uniform reveals.
Uh-oh.
Like the uniform reveals are like so dramatic, man. Like
Thank
these people,
God
they make
here.
these like cinematics. It's kind of funny too because the activity has gone this route to where we create these individualized uniforms, but really they somehow just end up kind of looking the same.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick on Boston a little bit. Like I'm sure it'll be cool on the field, but it looks very.
What was my analogy?
I think you said they look like highlighters or like a box of crayons.
No, I said it's like a bunch of light up crayons or highlighters moving around the field.
And some of them come across.
That's
like,
all tongue in cheek, by the way, for anybody.
Yeah. Those uniforms though, they remind me of what Crown did in 13 and 14 with the purple pants and the space pants band.
I saw somebody already post #rainbow pants band on the internet.
So they kind of just like you draw remembrance from like other groups instead of like your own group. So I think that's kind of a negative or a detriment in times.
Well, in trying to be different and unique, they almost end up making all the cores have very similar bodysuits of just like different colors or patterns, and it kind of makes them. Well, the intention is to make it different. It ends up almost having the opposite effect, where everyone's kind of very similar.
Which makes me appreciate kind of what, like, I'll use for example what cadets did a couple years ago with like the bottoms, but like the modern top that was like form fitting, but it had like almost the sash that went across it, even though it was like a short sleeve. Like we don't need to go back to wool. Wool was stupid. That's tragic.
Should have been phased out a long time ago.
But like Cavaliers, they kind of do something that looks a little modern, but also keeps their colors. BD's pretty good about that too, about keeping their colors in the mix. These capes, I'm not really fan of. I saw somebody post
I need to see the
Incredibles
live.
Somebody posted the Incredibles meme. It was like, no capes. I was like, yeah, exactly.
I need to see their unis live. I don't know. Maybe they hit different in person.
Yeah. I think when they take the capes off, they're going to look sweet. But
probably.
Just finding ways to insert the tradition into the modernization of it. Because you do kind of like, well, you look the same as this group. Like Boston looks like Crown did.
Yeah.
And that's what I'll think whenever I see it. That's probably not fair, but it is what it is for me.
It's how you feel. It's what you think. It's where it makes your brain go. So it is what it is. Right. Yeah, I'm freaking excited. I'm ready. I'm hoping some lot videos pop up from this SoCal preview show so we can get a glimpse of BD. Did you say earlier if Vanguard was there, or is it just like a Blue Devils thing?
No. I don't think Vanguard's there. I don't even think the Blue Devil's there. I think it's just like a Pacific Crest Gold vessel thing. That
could still be cool. See what Pacific Crest's doing, see what Shriver's up to out there. And so hopefully we get some videos to watch there. And then I'm going to Muncie, so I'm going to try and take my own videos for the channel at Muncie. Nice. And then we'll try and take videos again at Mason to upload to the interwebs for those groups. But
for sure.
It should be a fun season. Vanguard's back, which is exciting. Unfortunately, cadets aren't around. Unfortunate, but that is what it is. And I'll say it again. I think BD is going to have a really good drumline this year. And I don't think Vanguard or the Cavaliers will win a second Sanford. I think they'll be in the conversation. But I'm going to get a text from Adam Norris later after we launch this. And he's going to be like, we're going to show you wrong. Hope they do, because I like all those guys. But
the fun about it is that we're wrong about a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah. And the beauty is that making these bold statements or bolder statements right now, if we're right, we look really smart. And if we're wrong, we have the defense of, we hadn't seen anything yet. We were just spitballing. Yeah. You can't hold it against us. So it's like super high reward, super low risk.
And it gives people. I think it's fun when people get in the comments and they're just like, "Oh,
just stoke the flames."
Just please get it going. Don't say the phrase like, "Y'all aren't ready for us" or whatever. What is that phrase everybody says?
You're sleeping on us.
You're sleeping on us.
I hate that. That must mean I'm entering
you're gonna shock the world. Well, nothing will shock me.
Yeah, I'm an older generation person now. I'm saying like that younger generation. I hate that phrase, but it really is.
Get off my lawn. That's how I feel when I talk about the uniforms.
Oh yeah, it is. We're just those aged out dudes that are just like, this sucks now. Back in my day, this was way better. but it is what it is. I feel like it's an inevitable evolution of an age out or a drum corps fan. You like what you like, and we like elements of the new stuff. Like there's plenty of stuff.
I still love this
Yeah,
activity.
I still love the stuff,
just,
and
there's just certain
aspects,
preferences.
Yeah, we all have our preferences. We're allowed to, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't have anything else.
I'm good, man. I'm ready
right.
to watch some shows, and we'll reconvene when we get more content.
For sure. So you're on vacation next week, right?
Correct.
So this will be this is Tuesday, June 18th. I'm gonna upload it probably on the 20th for those still listening right now. We won't have anything come out next week as Evan is on vacation, unless I drive to Muncie while he's gone and take some videos. But in terms of reactions,
drum tapes or something.
Yeah, I'll probably put a drum tape up, but reaction videos will start when he is back. I think you get like the very beginning of July. I think is when it'll be. You'll get back.
Yeah,
and then like Mason is like 2 days later.
It's on a Tuesday.
Yeah, so the reaction stuff will start. We'll start covering the season beginning of July. We'll do our midseason. We'll do our predictions. We'll do our post-finals. We'll react to as many groups as we can. And hopefully you all join us for the ride. But again, comment, like, subscribe, Facebook, Instagram. Share this with anyone you think would enjoy it. Patreon, hit the join button on YouTube. Grab a shirt at agedoutpodcast.com. And we will see everybody in the next one.
Peace.